All right, guys, we have one last bit of movie news to cover. And if you have heard any news today, if you have heard any news yesterday, this, specifically last night, this dropped like a bombshell. Warner Brothers they have been put into a very sticky situation. Part of it is their own doing, but the greater part of it is just COVID right now. We live in a COVID world. What is Warner Brothers going to do with Wonder Woman 1984? This movie was supposed to come out months ago, and they delayed it to October, and then they pushed it back again to Christmas Day. And then there was a lot of talk to say they're going to push it back to 2021, possibly June, if not next November, a year from now. Well, last night, my girlfriend Kim and I were on the couch scrolling around through our Apple TV trying to figure out what to watch. And I was going to put on an episode of Harley Quinn, the new animated Harley Quinn show, which if you have not seen the Harley Quinn animated show on HBOMAX, drop what you're doing and watch that show. It's fantastic. So I was going to put on an episode of Harley Quinn, and we start scrolling because, you know, at like the top of every streaming service, it always has like the featured things. Hey, check this out before you check out anything else. So we see up there, there was an advertisement for Wonder Woman, and then I saw there was a thing for the Fresh Prince reunion, and I was like, oh, Fresh Prince reunion. And Kim was like, Mike, go back a second. And I just saw, oh, it's Wonder Woman. They're advertising Wonder Woman. And then it sunk in. It hit me. What? HBO Max is now advertising, and now they've been very public in this. This news dropped last night, literally yesterday. You guys, Wonder Woman 1984 is not just being released in theaters on Christmas Day. It is also simultaneously being released on HBO Max the same day on Christmas Day. So you can have your Christmas cake and eat it too, I guess. I don't know. Follow that analogy. Good luck. But that raises a lot of questions. We've been discussing, we've been talking for a long time. What is the implication of this? If Warner Brothers, and now it's been confirmed that they are, if Warner Brothers releases Wonder Woman 1984 in theaters on Christmas Day, what is their box office going to look like? Because as Tenet has shown, box office revenue right now is not good. Especially now we're going into a second round, a second wave, a second phase of COVID tearing through the world. Europe is basically shut down again for a second time. The United States is starting to follow suit. More movie theaters are starting to close around the country. They were up to about 80% open throughout the country, and now they're starting to shut down a little bit more, right? Other businesses, restaurants, maybe not delivery service, maybe some certain delivery services, but other places are starting to shut down again. So in the second wave of COVID slapping us all in the face, ticket sales at the movie theaters are not going to be very good. Theaters know this. Warner Brothers knows this. But here's the thing. Warner Brothers also knows. I have so much to say about this, and I'm trying to organize my thoughts, right? So yesterday, there's a YouTuber that I watch almost religiously. His name is John Campea. John Campea is the guy that I pretty much have copied the format for this show. He has the same exact show that I do, right? I've just copied his format, and I'm in love with what he does, and I love his style, love his presence, whatever. So if you watch John Campea and you say, that Mike Brown show, that Gotta Love That Movie show, that's a lot like John Campea's. That's why. So John Campea yesterday did a breakdown and his explanation as to why he thinks that Black Widow, the Marvel movie Black Widow, is going to come out on Disney Plus fairly soon. and I'll do separate video about it. Go look up his video. It just came out yesterday. It's on John Campea. He breaks down the math as to why he believes Black Widow is going to come out on Disney Plus, and it makes perfect sense, and I am inclined to agree with him. The whole basis of his argument is that the Disney Corporation has been very public and very vocal in saying that their new direction that they're going in is streaming. They want to put Disney Plus at the forefront of what it is that Disney does. Yes, they're still going to come out with theatrical releases. Yes, they're still going to make big budget movies to release in movie theaters. But Disney Plus is going to be their primary focus for revenue, for being the face of their company. Yes, they also have the Disney parks, but the Disney parks took a $9 billion hit this year because of COVID. It seems streaming is the one reliable source of content. So why are we talking about Disney Plus and Black Widow? It would appear that HBOMAX, HBO and, the Warner Brothers the Warner Corporation, whatever it's called, Warner Entertainment, they are in the similar thought process here. They're in the similar, camp of, we need to make HBO Max our premier service. If coronavirus is going to stick around for a few more years, let's hope not. Let's hope that this vaccine actually does some good in the world and we can get back to some regularity of normality. But it still doesn't change the fact that the world has changed now. We're different. The way we operate, the way that we do things is different now. It just is. Some things will revert back. In fact, I think a lot of things will revert back. But coronavirus has held a mirror up to a lot of how we operate and how we do things, and it's changed us fundamentally. So I believe that HBO Max is going to be of the utmost importance to the Warner Entertainment Company. And by them releasing Wonder Woman on HBO Max on Christmas Day, that is the nail in the coffin. That is proof. That is actual evidence that our world is changing. Here's why this is so huge. This is why the news is so big about Wonder Woman coming out on HBO Max right now. This isn't just, hey, it's a comic book movie. Hey, this is going to be a really fun time at the movies. But now you can watch it at home on HBO Max for a small subscription. Wonder Woman is a tentpole film. This is huge. This is huge. Wonder Woman 1984 is a potential billion-dollar movie. Will it hit, if it, in a non-COVID world, would it have hit $1 billion? Maybe not. But there's a good chance that it would. Same thing with Black Widow. Same thing with Tenet. So, by the Warner Company making the decision to release this on HBO Max is mammoth. Mammoth. From Wonder Woman coming out on HBO Max, there is that much greater of a chance, not just chance, probability, that Black Widow is going to be released on Disney Plus instead of coming out in theaters. We might get Black Widow as early as January, maybe February. Who knows? I'm speculating. I have no evidence of this. But Wonder Woman being released on HBO Max on Christmas Day also raises other questions. Hang on a second. What about the exhibition theaters? What about AMC theaters? What about Cineworld? What about Cinemark? What about Landmark? What about Alamo Drafthouse? What about any other Carmike theaters? What about any other smaller theater chain? A mom and pop theater chain? What about drive-in movie theaters? What's going to happen to them? Not many people are going to go see it in theaters because they can get it at home. This is a crazy, crazy situation. especially when you take into account in consideration that movie theaters have an agreement with the studios. You put your movie in our movie theater for a certain period of time, and after a 3-month window, then you can do whatever you want with your movie. You can release it on VOD, you can release it on Blu-ray, you can do whatever you want with it. You can put it on your own streaming service, do whatever you want. But we need a 3-month gap, a 3-month window to show your movie in our theater, because that's where you are going to get the most bang out of your buck, and we're going to get more concession sales from it. So AMC, this is where this particular article, this is the angle of this article as opposed to a lot of the articles written last night. AMC Theaters CEO Adam Aron has publicly come out and said that he is, not just he, their company is fully on board with this, which is in complete contrast to what he said. Literally, this same guy said to Universal Studios earlier this year about Trolls World Tour. Do you remember that whole debacle when Trolls World Tour said, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna put Trolls World Tour out on VOD the same day it comes out in movie theaters," and AMC CEO Adam Aron said, "We will not forget this," in kind of an intimidating, menacing way, right? And then AMC and Universal went on to create an unprecedented deal to say, you know what, we're going to shorten that theatrical window. We don't need the 3 months anymore. How about 17 days? That's what they came up with, 17 days. Which everybody was like, this is crazy. This is the end of the movie-going experience as we know it. It's the beginning of the end. And then we started thinking, okay, well, it doesn't mean that much, because in order for this deal to have any traction, Universal would also have to get another theater chain to sign on with it. Well, guess what? A few days ago, Cinemark Theaters signed up for the same deal that AMC did. And now Regal, who's owned by, Cineworld in Europe, they're the only major chain that hasn't signed up for the same deal. And so it's a possibility that Regal is going to get bullied into the same deal. Who knows? This is fundamentally mammoth. Wonder Woman being released in theaters on the same day that it's being released on streaming has never been done before. Not only has it never been done before, nobody would ever dare to do anything like this because of, the Paramount Accords saying that there needs to be that theatrical window. You're breaking an agreement. And two, this is in no way good for the theaters. But now AMC is saying, you know what? We live in an unprecedented time. Nobody knows what the future is going to hold. COVID has just ruined everything for everyone. So we're trying to maintain the best relationships that we know how to maintain, and at the same time, help other people do business. This is an unprecedented turn of events. Andy, I just spent the past 45 minutes talking about Wonder Woman. You've heard all my thoughts. You've heard everything that I have to say. You do some talking for a while. Where do you stand on this? How is this going to change the movie-going experience? What does this mean for Wonder Woman? Is Warner Brothers going to make any close, what am I trying to say? The type of money, I know they're not going to make $1 billion off of people signing up for HBO Max, but how is this going to help, and how is this going to change the industry?
Well, gosh, Mike, you just gave me so much to chew on and think about.
What are you talking about?
Something that popped into my mind, actually, when you started talking about the movie theater going experience and what's been happening with movie chains was how it's been speculated that movie studios might possibly start buying up or owning movie theater chains. There was an article in Medium a while ago that was giving a theory about how movie theaters would die and then come back by being owned by studios like Warner Brothers or Disney, where they would buy up the real estate and the theaters to own to showcase their tentpoles, essentially. And then I think what might Warner Brothers might be doing with this move is maybe leaning towards having a scenario where they not only own a movie theater chain, but also streaming their content simultaneously. So that way it's not split as it is right now. Essentially, it would be, they would start treating movie theaters as just another venue, as another option for how to absorb their content all under their own umbrella, though. So it would, because I think what's interesting, it's, this is happening around the same time that HBO Max announced that they're going to show the Snyder Cut, or have the Snyder Cut as a miniseries on HBO Max next year. And it seems like HBO Max is wanting to dive in to whatever territory or whatever content they could get their hands on, whatever properties that have buzz or draw to get their hands on right now. So I think obviously Wonder Woman 1984 was one of those properties. Just the Snyder Cut was one of those properties. And I think that HBO Max is making a play to try to take on whatever content they can right now to have for themselves that no other platforms aren't making a move for. So I think that's smart on HBO's part because, content is king right now. But I do think that obviously Warner Brothers letting Wonder Woman 1984 be released simultaneously both streaming and in theaters might speak to a future where Warner Brothers owns a chain of movie theaters instead of AMC, instead of having their movies shown at AMC theaters, where they relegate it as to being similar to a theme park experience where they showcase their tentpoles. They relegate it for their big budget projects. So that was one of the immediate thoughts that popped into my head when you were brought up some of the points you were talking about with the implications of having Wonder Woman 1984 be streamed both simultaneously in theaters and streaming. And plus, I mean, I'm excited for the movie itself. It looks great. It leaves a lot of questions. Obviously the fact that Steve Rogers is back in the mix, I'm just sort of like, all right, there's obviously some twist, but maybe it's just an excuse to try to have Chris Pine in the movie because Chris Pine and Gal Gadot worked so well together again. So yeah, there's a lot of things I think that there are a lot of questions it forces us to ask, is saying what else is Warner Brothers planning to do going forward if things work out for work out for it being available both streaming and in theaters. What might that imply? Would that lean towards Warner Brothers being comfortable with owning movie theater chains and having content be available both simultaneously streaming and in theaters and not hurting their bottom line or not impacting their model?
Think so the Paramount Accords, and I'll have to look it up, and maybe I'll do a separate video as to like what the Paramount Accords are and what's the specific structure and outline of what it is that they do. The basic idea of the Paramount Accords is that it's a set of rules and guidelines that everybody has agreed to and adhered to, and I believe enforceable by law, is that movie studios cannot own exhibition theaters. The reason being is that if they do, let's say Disney, if Disney owns their own brand of theaters. So if Disney buys out AMC theaters and now AMC becomes Disney theaters, and if you go to a Disney theater doesn't have to pay anything to show their movies in a Disney theater because they own it. They get to take all of the concession sales, and AMC being the largest theater chain in the world, they now have a monopoly on the theater exhibition thing. So let's just say that you go to a small town, let's just use my own hometown, for example. Oil City, Pennsylvania. There's only one movie theater, and it's not even in Oil City. It's in Cranberry, very close by. So let's just say you go to Cranberry. It's the only movie theater for 45 minutes? For 45 minutes. That's the only movie theater. Let's just say that it's an AMC. It's not. I think it's a Carmike. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Let's just say it's an AMC. So now, in Venango County, Cranberry, Pennsylvania, where this movie theater is, they own a monopoly on the movie industry in that region. So if Universal wants to show a movie in their theater, now they have to pay an extreme premium to show their movie in a Disney theater. Same thing with Warner Brothers. Same thing with Blumhouse. They have to pay an extreme premium. So now Disney's making money off of their own movies for not having to pay to do exhibition. But now they're also taking in money from other studios that want to show movies in their theater. So that was the primary reason for the Accords, and also the theatrical window kind of played into that whole thing, whatever. But that was the primary reason that the Accords were created. Now, granted, this was in like the 1930s, 1940s, like somewhere through there. I believe it was the 30s. So that one movie studio could not have a monopoly on the movie industry. But now, as streaming has shown us, the Accords kind of don't matter anymore because Disney Plus has their own streaming service. The Accords don't apply to streaming services. HBOMAX, Apple TV Plus, CBS All Access, or I think they're changing it to Paramount Plus. So maybe it's time to just do away. But then again, like smaller theaters like Blumhouse, A21, they're not going to be able to afford their own movie theater chain. And are they going to have to pay a premium? Are they going to have to start their own streaming service? This is where this whole thing just gets ridiculously complicated. I mean, we'll figure it out as we move forward. As Jonathan Pitts was on the show a couple of weeks ago, I asked him about this. Jonathan Pitts is he's the creator and co-producer of the Chicago Improv Festival in Chicago for like 20 some years, right? He was on the show a few weeks ago, and he was saying that we are a social bunch. The movie theater going experience is not going to go away. It's not going to look like it is now. There's a very good chance that AMC Theaters is going to permanently shut down, but someone inevitably will come along and fit the bill. And maybe Apple. It's very possible that Apple, because they could buy Disney over like 5 times over, something like that. They have that much cash on hand. Or Amazon. I mean, these are massive, massive companies that could come in and take over a theater chain. Maybe they'll have to stop. I mean, and here's the thing, because Apple and Amazon, they don't usually put their movies into theaters anyway. I mean, some, but they usually don't. Apple sure doesn't. So if they were to go ahead and buy a studio, they don't need to release their theater, their movie in a theater, in an Apple theater. They could just release it on Apple TV Plus. So this whole situation is just so bizarre, so wonky, so crazy. Who knows where it's going to go? But you guys, the biggest news, the biggest takeaway is that we get Wonder Woman on Christmas Day, and you don't have to leave your house to see it. I mean, I probably will, because I love the theater going experience, and it just means so much to me. And I feel like I can be safe doing it.
I'm a Jew, and obviously Jews need something to do on Christmas. And since we can't go to Chinese restaurants this year, they've all been shut down, so we can't, or at least we have to find a way to eat it outdoors. And I don't know, I can't imagine eating my Chinese food outdoors in 30. Well, actually, I won't be here, so I'll be in warmer weather. Mm-hmm. So maybe I will. Maybe I'll go eat outdoor Chinese food this year.
Maybe. Question is for you guys. Are you looking forward to Wonder Woman? Where are you going to watch Wonder Woman? How are you going to see Wonder Woman? thoughts and theories. Like I said, there's so much to unpack here. There is this implies so many different things, and it's so complicated. It's a complicated situation. But what do you think about it? Do you think this is a good move? Do you think this is a bad move? Change is scary, but ultimately, do you think that this will be for everyone's benefit of the company? Is it going to benefit the companies more than it benefits us? Who knows? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what Batman from the animated series would want you to do. His name is Batman.